Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the first poem of the book First Flight. The name of the poem is Dust of Snow, written by the famous American poet Robert Frost. Have you heard of this name, Robert Frost? Let me remind you, Robert Frost, famous poem, stopping by the woods on a snowy evening, where some famous lines are there. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Robert Frost is an American poet, basically known as the poet of nature, because whatever he tries to explain through his poetry, the philosophy, the deep hidden meaning of his poems are related to life, but explained through nature. This is his speciality, Robert Frost. His poem, Stopping by the Woods, also in the midst of woods. And this poem, Dust of Snow, also in the midst of woods, where he has tried to explain a deep philosophy of life, which human beings always forget. Before I explain the complete uh, this poetry, its hidden meaning as well as the literal meaning of this poetry, let me explain you the symbolic meaning and the literal meaning of few words and phrases in this poetry. Although this poetry contains 8 lines, but the hidden meaning, the deep meaning is much, much more than this. So, first you understand the title of this poem, Dust of Snow. Dust means fine particles. Snow, you all know. So, dust of snow here stands for fine particles of snow. Now, what fine particles of snow can make you understand? Poets are masters in that. Fine particles of snow shook down. Shook down means shake something. Okay? Shaking something and something falls down. So, shook down. Hemlock tree, what is the symbolic of hemlock tree? Hemlock tree is a poisonous plant with small white flowers. It stands for death. Okay, it's not a good omen, it's a bad omen. Hemlock tree. Crow. Crow also is the symbolic of death, sadness, not happiness or not something good to happen. It's a bad omen. Okay. Then, uh, what do we understand by mood? Mood means our state of mind. We say, na, it's a bad mood, good mood. So, that way, mood, state of mind. And then there is a word which says, I had rued. Rued means regret. Okay, something uh, the poet has is regretting for. So, rude means regret. Now, I shall start with the explanation of the literal meanings. First, the literal meaning, then the deep hidden meaning of this poem, which is very beautiful and very deep. It is simple poem which states that the poet is somewhere in the forest. Okay, he is standing under the hemlock tree in the forest. Okay, so he says, the poet says that I am standing under the hemlock tree, and what happened to me at that time? A crow came and sat upon the branch of the hemlock tree. And what happened? Crow and hemlock tree, both are symbolic of death. Both are bad omen. So, the moment a crow came and sat on one of the branches of the hemlock tree, what happened? It shook down that branch, and the snow that was there on that branch fell upon the poet's head. So, I'm explaining the first stanza. Listen to it very carefully. The way, in the way a crow came and sat on the branch of the tree and shook down, shaken that branch, shook down that branch, what fell down upon me? The dust of snow. Fine particles of snow fell down upon the poet. So I'm explaining again. The way a crow shook down the branch and made that fine particles fall upon me. The dust of snow from where? From a hemlock tree. Is the first stanza clear to all? the way a crow shook down on me the fine particles of snow from a hemlock tree. This act of falling of the fine particles of snow upon me. The poet is in a very sad, regretful mood. At that time, suddenly, when these particles, when the dust of snow falls upon the poet, he experiences a sudden change in his mood. Has given my heart, now I'm explaining the second stanza, has given my heart a change of mood. Suddenly, I experienced that from regret, my mood changed into happiness, into glad. I became happy at that time, thinking of what I shall explain has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of the day I had rued. He says this act of falling of the dust of snow upon me has suddenly made me realize something very important in life and saved the remaining part of the day which I was going to waste. Was going to waste in regret, in sadness. At times, something happens with us and we are wasting our complete day, complete light, complete life, sorry, thinking about that sad moment of our life and not coming back to the reality and living the life, the beautiful life given to us by God. So he says, this moment of the dust of snow falling upon me completely made me realize something very important and changed my mood. What important? Now I shall start with the explanation of the symbolic meaning of this poem. So I was explaining the symbolic meaning of this poem. Remember, children, one thing. At times, what happens with us is we are sad at something. Suppose we look at the sanitation of our area, cleanliness, pollution, the plans of the government, all around sadness, depression, corona, news of this and that, everywhere sadness. But the truth is that thinking about the only thing that is death, that one day this beautiful life is going to end, should make us realize how beautiful the life is and it is to be lived, not to be wasted in regret. Again, I explain something. Thoughts of mortality. What did the poet start thinking? That any moment I can die. When you think this way, the life will not be irritating. It will not be depressing. Not at all. You will not think about the negative things present in the life. So the poet is trying to tell us one moment can change our life. One thought can change our mood. What happened to the poet? This dust of snow fell upon the poet and it made him realize the meanings, the symbolic meaning of this crow, death, hemlock tree, death. So we are living a life where any moment death can occur, will be no more. We have been given this life by God. Why are we wasting? This is the message. Listen to it very carefully. Why are we wasting our life in regrets, in sadness, in depression, in only thinking about the negative things present around us? Why don't we think of the positive present around us? Whatever. Thank God, amidst all this corona, we are safe. We are with our family. Why don't we thank God every moment for whatever positive He has given us? Why do we always think of the negative? And that is the meaning the poet wants to convey. The poet was having a regret about something. So he was wasting his entire day. This day means entire life in thinking about that negative in his life, which was making him feel depressed, which was making him feel irritated about things. This single moment when he thought that anything could happen to me at any point of time in my life made him realize how beautiful life is, how beautiful things and people around us are. So think of the positive in every human being, in every situation. This is the deep message that the poet wants us to understand. I am uh, telling you the central idea of this poem in a paragraph. The Dust of Snow is a small and simple poem with a deep meaning. It expresses the significance of small things in changing one's attitude. One moment when you realize death is near, tomorrow I am going to die, you start living your life, no? So that this is the message the poet tries to give us. Think of the last day and live the life entirely. The poem explains that little things in life can make huge changes in our future. It reflects the hard times in the life will lead to the happier times if we can persist with it. We cannot always think about whatever sadness is there, whatever regret we have in our life. We must divert our thoughts to the positive things around us. Thinking of death makes us live the life. So thinking of positive will make us live our life in a more meaningful way is the explanation of this poetry, Dust of Snow. What is the rhyme scheme of this poem? Crow, snow, me and tree. So A, B, A, B. Right? Heart, part. Second stanza, heart, part, mood, rude. Again, C, D, C, D. This is the rhyme scheme of this poem. There are some literary devices, poetic devices used in the poem. Number one is symbolism, which is crow is the symbolic of bad omen, sadness and death. And hemlock tree also is the symbolic, that is hemlock tree is associated with death. It's a poisonous tree. So thoughts of death made us realize how beautiful life is. Okay, did you understand that? Thoughts of his own mortality bring the poet back from regret to a more positive view of life. Another poetic device present in this poem is oxymoron. I shall explain this. I'll send you the presentation of what the spelling of oxymoron, what is the meaning and complete and how is it present in this poem. But first listen. So oxymoron means two contrasting things which are not of the same sense present and explaining something together. So there is a contrast between crow and snow. Crow is black, snow is white. And dust of snow itself is an oxymoron. Why? Two opposite things. Dust is dry, snow is wet. Dust is dry, snow is wet. Dust is something of darker shade, snow is something of brighter shade. But trying to explain through this example of oxymoron, something very deep. So we can say. Now, there is one more thing that the poet is trying to explain us. That is, nature has its own mysteries. And living with nature is one of the most beautiful experiences a human can have. He's trying to explain the philosophy of life through nature. That's why he's particularly he's famous as the poet of nature. He lives in nature and explains his philosophy of life through nature. Thank you.